Hey everyone, it's Evelyn Ackah from Ackah Business Immigration Law. I hope you're well. I'm speaking today on our LinkedIn Live about the eligible professions and occupations under the new free trade agreement, whether you call it CUSMA, Canada-US Mexico Agreement, or you call it USMCA, US Mexico Canada Agreement, is the same thing. And they all have the same job titles and professions that they've always had, with very few additions over the several decades. So I'm going to talk to you about those that are eligible and those that are not. Oftentimes when people contact us, they are calling us because they want to work in the States and they have a job opportunity, but they may be somebody working in the oil rigs or doing labor or farm work or some other occupations that don't require a 4-year degree. Or maybe they have an opportunity to drive a truck. Those are not considered eligible occupations under the free trade agreement. The list is about 70 professions at this time. There have been some additions over the years, but they are very much limited to those who have degrees, except for a couple of exceptions. So things like engineer, lawyer, professor, biologist, lots and lots of scientists occupations. Psychologist is one of them. Even hotel manager is one of them. So they're listed in order under the NAFTA professional. And if you don't fit into that list, then it makes it much harder for you to qualify to get a work permit under the treaty NAFTA category, or if you're coming to Canada under a Canadian work permit LMIA exempt position. If your job doesn't fit into those criteria of the 4-year degree that's listed there, so for instance, jobs like sales, HR, president, manager, those are not listed under the free trade agreement professional designation. So it makes it very difficult for those people who work in those categories to work in the States under the TN category. There are 2 exceptions to that process, which are the technical technician technologist, scientific technician technologist. That's the category for people who may have a 2-year degree, but they're working under the direct supervision of somebody like an engineer. So if you're working as an engineering technician and you have the opportunity to work under an engineer that's got the 4-year degree plus the designation of a PEng, you may likely qualify for TN visa going to the US or entering Canada. And that application is one of the few where you only need a 2-year diploma plus the engineer working with you or that you're reporting to. And occasionally we've been very successful at getting people's work experience equated with those organizations that equate education. So even sometimes if somebody doesn't have the 2-year diploma, we've been able to get them through very creatively to meet the criteria to satisfy the US or Canadian immigration. The other category that does not require a 4-year degree is that of management consultant. I've said this many times. Everybody thinks they're management consultant because they've been doing what they've been doing for 5 years or more, whether it's a dancer, a cook, there's so many different people, a personal trainer. And sometimes we can get them in under that if they fit the criteria of having a full consulting agreement that shows what they're going to be consulting in with the US client, and that it's outlined very clearly. They have the expertise and they're not an employee on payroll. And so in those cases, we may be eligible to get them a 1 to 2-year consulting visa to work in Canada or the United States so that they can meet their obligations to their clients and also work across border like they're trying to, even if they don't have a 4-year degree. They may have at least 5 years of experience or more in their proven field and a legitimate job offer. It's not easy to be able to qualify for the NAFTA professional category. There's a lot of documentation required in addition to your 4-year degree, literally taking it off the wall. If it's an original framed for US immigration, they want to see the original, plus sometimes even transcripts. and you need a job offer with an employer that's willing to prepare the right materials or hire you a professional to do it right. So I want you to know that you don't mess around going and just trying over and over and over again, because you want to be successful to get your work permit the first time. But ideally, you'll fit into the NAFTA professional lists. And if you don't, and consultant doesn't work for you, you may have options under the L1B or an E-visa if you're heading to the US, or the intercompany transfer into Canada, or a treaty visa into Canada. So if you'd like to talk about any of these options, please do give me a call at Ackah Business Immigration Law. We're here to help you so you can qualify for the category that fits for you. Take good care. Thanks. Bye-bye.